Alright, hello, and welcome to another edition of Pioneer with Poncelet. Today we've got Red Devotion. We're playing cards like Burning Tree Emissary, as you see here. Some curve fillers like Soulscar Mage and some other friends that you'll see pretty soon. And we've got Chandra, Torch of Defiance, as our Planeswalker, kind of holding it down at 4 mana. Does a little bit of everything. All the things that we want. We're going to keep this hand because it's got a decent curve. Nothing to play with the mana that we get off the Burning Tree Emissary as of yet, but the 2 pips are still pretty good. So we'll take it. We're also playing the card Nykthos, which is typical of the Devotion style decks in Pioneer at the moment. And in general, if you're playing Devotion, most of the time you're playing Nykthos. And yeah, the idea here is that we're similar to the other red decks in the format that have been doing pretty well lately. By the way, I'm glad to be back. It's been a good month since I've recorded a video for y'all. I was out of town for a bit doing some GPs, hanging out with the fam. But yeah, it feels good to be back in action here. Yeah, no value off of our Burning Tree, unfortunately. We are playing Stomp / Bone Crusher Giant, which is a great card to cast off Burning Tree Emissary. The Stomp half also triggers Prowess on Soulscar Mage. Opponent playing Sheltered Thicket into Godless Shrine. This is an interesting deck that our opponent is playing. Unfortunately, no 3-drop for us, but our 4-drops are strong. We're playing Rekindling Phoenix. It's just, I think, a really powerful card in the format right now. There aren't too many exile effects that target it. Teferi Time Raveler off every color of land. Interesting to bounce Burning Tree Emissary. That's kind of weird. So I kind of want to just get Rekindling Phoenix into play, since we're likely to just attack Teferi here with Soulscar anyway, so the prowess isn't going to be that useful. And I don't know, I guess Chandra's pretty nice to have in play next turn. We can plus and do some stuff, but we have a lot of Phoenixes to cast still. So as it stands, I think let's just get the Phoenix into play. It's pretty close, though. I wouldn't fault anybody for playing Chandra there. For 4 mana, they could have a Supreme Verdict, but that's fine. It looks like there's some sort of a Niv-Mizzet, like 5-color pile of cards. Alright, well, Chandra's better against Teferi number 2. So that's a little bit frustrating. Glorybringer is pretty bad against a mass removal spell, so I don't really want to play Glorybringer here, even though that's like the most mana efficient play. Yeah, I think I'm just going to replay Phoenix. And again, kill the Teferi and attack them with the Burning Tree. We still have a pretty fast clock. Niv-Mizzet is pretty annoying if they have it here, in that it's going to draw them like 5 cards or whatever it normally does. Probably usually an average of 3 to 4, which is bad, but our board is pretty good. Siege Rhino. Okay. Alright. Siege Rhino. Who knows what our opponent's playing? I guess it's probably a Niv-Mizzet deck. I haven't really seen too many Niv-Mizzet decks in Pioneer, so it's possible that this is just what they look like. But yeah. Teferi into Siege Rhino. So we can Chandra minus on Siege Rhino, which makes it an 0-1. which is pretty good. And save the Glorybringer for a bit. I think I like that. Chandra plus we can play another Phoenix. It's also pretty good. Yeah, maybe playing another Phoenix is better. I think I'm going to Chandra plus. Oops. And just get in there with the Phoenix. We can do 12 in the air next turn just from our flyers. And then Chandra plus will do the extra 2 damage. Since they're at 13. Should be pretty decent. Where's this going? At Chandra. Yeah, I'm just going to let her go to 1 here. They might have a mass removal spell, but the 2 Phoenixes come back, and then we Glorybringer, and then plus Chandra, like we were just talking about, or like I was just talking about. Yeah, so I'm feeling pretty good here, but our opponent does have 5 cards in hand, and they could literally be playing anything. They have access to all the colors. They could literally have any card that's legal in Pioneer in their hand right now. And it would be castable for the most part. I guess they couldn't have like Thought Knots here. There's Niv-Mizzet. It's not so bad, since they can't cast any of the cards they're going to get. But they got some stuff. Another Niv-Mizzet. Bring to light. Land. Oh, that works actually. So we hit Bone Crusher Giant, which gives us just enough to pop the Niv-Mizzet with the first stomp, and then Glorybringer, Exert, dealing 4 more damage to Niv-Mizzet. Because we have Soulscar Mage in play, it actually just kills it. And we're attacking for more than lethal here. Pretty nice, pretty nice. So our opponent is a 5-color Niv-Mizzet deck. I know we want to go fast. That's pretty important. Mizium Mortars is not that good. Damping Sphere, not that good. Chandra, Awakened Inferno. It's good, but not great. It's just, it costs 6. By the time we can cast this, they already have their thing online. I think we just want to be as fast as possible. And Soulscar Mage was pretty good there. It's possible Boros Reckoner is better than Chain Whirler in this matchup. Or Leyline of Combustion is probably not that good. Maybe Boros Reckoner instead of Combustion. So Leyline of Combustion might be a card that you're looking at right now and being like, huh? So I got this from Aspiring Spike, who's been kind of crushing through Pioneer for the entirety of its existence. Really good player. Plays on Twitch. Check him out. Leyline of Combustion was kind of his innovation for this, and I don't love it, but it's pretty powerful in your opener. it makes it really awkward for your opponent to cast targeted removal on your stuff, because you are a deck that can kind of close out pretty fast with all the flyers and Chandra and Torbran. You can really end up dealing a lot of damage with this card. So I think it's quite good in certain matchups, but I don't think this is one of them. I think I'd rather just have the body of Reckoner and the more consistent, like, good card. Because if you draw Ley Line of Combustion anytime after turn 0, it's a pretty bad card, all told. So we're going to try to just beat down as fast as possible. We did win that game on the draw, I feel like. No, we won on the play, game 1. So hopefully we can break serve here on the draw. I feel like since we're on the draw, we can keep this. As long as we hit the 3rd red source, we can kind of start to go off. So I'm going to keep. It's a little bit slow, but our deck in general doesn't really get started till turn 3, other than like 12 cards. So opponent kept 7 as well. Tabbed Godless Shrine. Hopefully our opponent's deck loses to itself, which is very possible because our opponent's deck is 5 colors, and it's hard to make that mana base work. So far they have 3 of their 5. Alright, we didn't get there as far as a 3rd red source yet. I'm just going to cast this Burning Tree. For no value, which is kind of a bummer, but it will allow us to do more next turn with Nykthos if we can cast anything. Sylvan Caryatid, that'll help them get their mana. We did find the mountain. I'm going to attack. I shouldn't have played the mountain before combat, because now they're definitely not going to block into the potential Chain Whirler, which we do have. We're going to play Reckoner here, though, instead, because the 1 damage is not relevant there, where it might be later if we draw a Soulscar Mage, or if they have a Planeswalker in play. Five mana and Bring to Light for Niv-Mizzet. Alright. Yeah, turn 4 Niv-Mizzet is going to be really hard to beat. They got, looks like 3 cards off of it. Oh, dude. So we can make 5 with Nykthos, 6. Six total. So we can cast 2 Chain Whirlers. Doesn't do much. They have another Niv-Mizzet in hand. This is going to be a tough game. We can block the Niv-Mizzet pretty well, except for they have Utter End in their hand. So they're going to be able to get rid of our Phoenix. So yeah, they have these 3 cards in their hand for sure. Because of the way Niv-Mizzet works, it's each color pair you choose one that's exactly those colors from among them. So Niv-Mizzet's more than exactly those colors, so I guess they only drew 2 cards off of it. Yeah, alright. So 6 mana, we can double spell with Chain Whirler, but it's not that good. I think I'd like to attack with Reckoner. Yeah, let's just attack with Reckoner. I really doubt that they're going to block. And double Chain Whirler here. Alright, they got a Reckoner. Next turn we can play both our other cards and swing out, which seems pretty good. Eight mana, we'll use 5 of it here. And yeah, we're gonna... Oh, it's a dragon. Oh no. Oh no. It's a dragon. I didn't think about that. Wow, it's funny because game 1, I was going to try and kill Niv-Mizzet with the Glorybringer, but they just scooped. It's a dragon. That's a bummer. So Glorybringer says non-dragon creature, and I forgot about that. That hurts. That hurts pretty bad. That was a really bad exert. But we might still be able to get there. I mean, we have Fanatic of Mogis in our deck still, which just deals enough damage. We also have a decent amount of damage otherwise. Kolaghan's command, make me discard. Ow. Alright, ramming up ruins allows us to get him to 5. If we hadn't exerted the Glorybringer, we'd be in really good shape here. But unfortunately we did. Yeah, as it stands, we just can't do anything other than pass the turn. If we attack with both, then they can Vraska our 0-1, which is kind of bad for us. Yeah, really, really bad exert. That's kind of embarrassing. Totally forgot that Niv-Mizzet is a dragon. And yeah, we knew they had Utter End as well, so the attack was pretty awful either way. Alright, yeah, this is going to be a very difficult game. In fact, it might just be impossible at this point. We can put him to 7 or to 8, and then Fanatic would deal 6. But they're going to 11 here. So we're probably not going to get there. Sorry, I just keep getting calls. Alright. I'm just going to go ahead and scoop and let's go to game 3. Yeah, really embarrassing Glorybringer exert there. Whoops. It doesn't look like we were going to win that game anyway, but still pretty bad. So I still think Reckoner's pretty good, and we probably want to keep that. And Leyline, I mean, they are playing a lot of targeted removal. But we certainly want Fanatic. And I think we want Soulscar Mage just because it is something to do on turn 1 that can get some incidental damage in for the first few turns, as they're a deck that plays so many colors. It's going to be hard for them to cast anything before like turn 3. Yeah, I think Leyline's not worth it here, even though they do play a decent amount of targeted removal. So we're just waiting on our opponent to start up the next game. Yeah, we're just hoping to be faster than them on the play. Our hand was capable of winning on the play that last game, I'm pretty sure. Especially if we didn't exert Glorybringer to try and kill a Niv-Mizzet that was untargetable with Glorybringer's exert ability. But yeah, I think with a reasonable draw, we should be able to get them dead in time. In a previous version of this deck, I was running 4 Fanatic of Mogis. The card is pretty bad when they're interacting with you. So I cut down to 2 and went up to the full 4 Rekindling Phoenix, as that card is generally just pretty powerful and hard to deal with. So I like having just like the pure power card of Rekindling Phoenix. So much of the time, like you'll be playing against someone who just doesn't have an answer to this 4/3 flyer, can't attack into it because it blocks and then comes back, and can't deal with it because if they kill it, it just comes back also. So it's just a really powerful card that some decks, some situations, just it wins by itself. Obviously, Fanatic of Mogis can also do that, but it's much more situational. And this is reasonable. We're gonna keep it. Couple of Phoenixes. Hopefully, we find some way to use Burning Tree for value. But even if it's just a 2-mana 2/2, it's what we're gonna do here. Burning Tree Emissary is kind of just the devotion card that lets you kind of go off with multiple burning trees. You can just cast them all for the same price as 1, which is obviously really nice. It allows you to play 2 spells a turn in the mid game when you draw 1 for turn and you're just going to cast something else anyway. which is pretty nice. And here we're not going to get any value off of it, but it's just going to be a 2-mana 2/2. Hopefully we draw something to do next turn, but even if we don't, just attacking for 3 and then Rekindling Phoenix will hopefully be good enough to get our opponent dead before they get going. Their deck hopefully is going to lose to itself. Like I was saying before, it's a 5-color deck, playing like Botanical Sanctums and Temple Gardens and Blood Crypts and every type of everything that you can think of. And there we did draw very well, hitting a Chain Whirler. Something to do on turn 3. Get an extra damage in. Feeling pretty good now that we've curved right out. Not the most oppressive of curves from us here, but certainly reasonable. Let's get in there with the friends. I'm going to block Soul Scar. That's pretty good for us because we're getting an extra point of damage. And they could have the turn 4 Niv, which is pretty likely considering they bend a Niv with Discovery Dispersal. It's pretty likely that they at least have like a Supreme Verdict. But Supreme Verdict not that bad in the face of this Rekindling Phoenix. Niv would be a problem though. Oh, it looks like they don't have Niv. Instead they're just going to play a Siege Rhino. Yeah, they didn't have 5 colors. That's cool. That's a pretty good draw. So I think we're going to swing out here. And then stomp the Siege Rhino depending on what they block. If they block the Burning Tree, that's a good block from them. If they block there, that's not so good. Because the way Soulscar Mage works, when you deal non-combat damage to your opponent's creatures, it's -1/-1 counters instead. Most of you are probably familiar with that, but just in case you're not, let's get that regular damage in there. They go to 5. We're going to cast this Bone Crusher Giant and hope that that's good enough. They are at 5. They're certainly under the gun. Even a Mass Removal spell puts them dead to the Rekindling Phoenix next turn in tandem with our Ramunap Ruins. So it's going to be very difficult for them to get out of this. And they're going to scoop it up. Alright, I'm going to take a short break and give my boss a call. So pause the recording here, or the playback, tech person at TCGplayer. Alright, short break over. Let's jump in another match. Alright, welcome to round 2 with our sweet mono red devotion deck. We beat up on a little Niv-Mizzet Reborn 5-color deck with some speedy draws in games 1 and 3 last round. This is going to be a keep. We've got turn 1, turn 2, and then hopefully something to do on turn 3 by the time we get there. And then Torbran into Glorybringer is going to be pretty powerful as well, so we're going to keep this. I mean, I guess we can just cast Bonecrusher Giant on turn 3, which is pretty great. And yeah, we're going to kill this elf. Just going to get rid of it. That's a good draw. Yeah, Bonecrusher Giant's such a good card because of the fact that it's a 2-drop and a 3-drop. I was just complaining like, oh, we might not have a 3-drop, but we do, and it's our 2-drop. And I think Bonecrusher Giant is quietly one of the better cards. Maybe not that quietly, but certainly one of the better cards from Throne of Eldraine for Constructed Magic. I've seen it getting played in Legacy even. I don't think it's quite vintage playable, but the fact that it's getting played in Legacy is pretty impressive. And I do think it's that good. It's just straight up 2-for-1 almost always. Ooh, it's the green devotion deck, and they have a Burning Tree into a Mystic. Okay. Could have been worse. It's not so bad. I'm not going to attack with the Soul Scar. It's just too big of a risk to expose it to them just blocking with Burning Tree. I think if I had attacked, most people would not have blocked there, like before casting Bonecrusher, obviously. I think most folks wouldn't have, but the like 20% chance that our opponent just calls our bluff and thinks we don't have it and blocks would be a really bad result for us. So I just didn't go for it there, just to play it safe, because we don't need to get that 1 extra point of damage in, hopefully. And if I know my opponent, if I'm sitting across from somebody and playing Paper Magic, and I know my opponent's a very good Magic player and understands how bad of a block it would be if I do have a removal spell, or just any instant speed spell to give my Soulscar prowess, or to give my Soulscar +1/+1 with prowess, I would probably just snap attack before doing anything else. But because we don't know the opponent, we don't know whether or not they would make a risky play like that block there, we're just not going to do it. So Torbran attack with Bonecrusher seems pretty good. I think I want to do that. And I don't want to show them the Nykthos just yet. But I'm happy to trade Bonecrusher for Lovestruck Beast here. That sun's pretty bright. So they're content to trade there as well. Now next turn with Glorybringer and Soulscar and Torbran, we can actually kill a 6/6 with Glorybringer, which is pretty great. And that counts as something we want to kill with Glorybringer. Another Leyline of Combustion. Those are pretty bad in this matchup. They're only really adding to our devotion count, and not really doing anything else. So a little awkward that we drew 2 Leyline of Combustion when our opponent actually has no interaction. They will never target any of our creatures, as far as I know. I think it's fine to trade Soulscar for Burning Tree here. No. I'll just attack with these 2. And we're gonna kill the Steel Leaf. Ooh, they have Aspect? Ooh. Well, that's annoying, but not that bad. So they might as well trade with Torbran, yeah. Alright. That's annoying, but still a trade. Although it wouldn't have mattered if it was a trade or not, because that creature was going to die on the following turn anyway. To play it super safe there and play around Aspect, we could have just not attacked with Torbran, but they did have the Aspect. And they have another Lovestruck Beast, which is pretty good here. Glorybringer is still very good on this board, but it's not untapping next turn. And ostensibly all we're doing is playing a Leyline, which is a pretty bad turn for us. Hopefully we draw something better to do. That's much better. Here, since they're on 3 lands, I think what I want to do is Stomp the Mystic, since their hand is all gas. And just cast Bone Crusher, because they've been missing land drops. That was a pretty good top deck there. They found a 4th land, and they got to Galta. Yeah, I guess 8 plus 4 is 12. Unfortunate. Had we... Yeah, it wouldn't have mattered, I guess. Had we killed Burning Tree, it wouldn't have changed anything. We can double block Lovestruck Beast, but then that's kind of bad. Yeah. That was best possible for them. Galta is the card that these red decks can't really beat. And our opponent has Galta in play here. That's a pretty good draw, though. The Chain Whirler Soulscar Mage interaction is pretty great. And now we can attack with Glorybringer, exert to subtract more from that, putting it to a 7/7. Then we can double block it with these 2, or just potentially jump it. Another option here is to not exert, just swing for 4, put him to 7, and then next turn all we have to do is deal 1 extra damage. The unfortunate thing is we killed a 1/1, but we actually gave them another 1/1, so they can still attack with Lovestruck Beast. But we can just trade Lovestruck Beast for Bone Crusher, take 11 down to 2, swing out is hopefully good enough. Yeah, I think that's my line here. I'm just going to attack with Glorybringer, no exertion. And hope that we can kill them next turn with the Ramanap plus swinging. Hopefully that's good enough. Since we're at 13, we can take 1 hit from the Galta as long as they don't have an aspect of the Hydra. Great Henge. Well, that changes things a bit. They're up to 9. And they're going to draw a card. Alright. Well, that's unfortunate. Wow. Okay. That's really unfortunate. Yeah. Well, bummer. We needed them not to have a good card in hand, and they had a very, very good card in hand. Yeah, I think we still have to trade. So, yeah, we need to not die, obviously, so I might as well trade here. And I guess we could find... they have 3 blockers now. They're at 9 instead of 7. Yeah, I don't think there's much we can draw. Not really sure what we're trying to find. I guess a stomp would be good. Nick those doesn't do anything. Yeah. That's pretty unfortunate. We almost had it, but our opponent had Galta into Great Henge. Darn. Huh. Phoenix would have been good, but not good enough. Chandra. We would have made 6. Chandra plus play another Nykthos. I guess if we Nykthos, played Nykthos. No, I don't know. Doesn't really matter. Great Henge was pretty good there against us. Galta is a problem. It's like a pretty giant problem for us. But Reckoner is very good. Leyline of Combustion is awful. And Fanatic, I don't really like that much. Niv-Mizzet, probably not good enough. It really only kills like Burning Tree and the elves, which can be really good. Yeah, maybe we leave Niv-Mizzet. It doesn't do that much besides kill the elves and the burning trees, but it's probably good enough. And then we should be cutting something else here. I like Soulscar Mage a lot, actually. So what do we want to cut? I kind of really like Phoenix in this matchup. I like all the flyers because we can kind of just gum up the ground as long as they don't draw Galta and kill them in the air, and they just have no recourse there. So maybe we do drop the Jet and just use the Bone Crushers. And maybe we drop like the other Torbran. Torbran's pretty good, but obviously don't want to draw 2. So let's just go down 1 Torbran, because I think the Chain Whirlers and the Boros Reckoners are just so good, especially in tandem with each other. Having 6 power worth of First Strike is really, really good against this deck. Oof, that's not a keep. This hand's not great either, but I'm gonna keep it, and we're gonna bottom a Glorybringer. Oops. All right, it's a little bit bright right now. Apparently picked the bad time of day to try and record. Gonna go ahead and mortars that. Since we don't have anything else going on, I'd like to keep them from doing anything explosive here. Hopefully we draw something to do. Darn. Alright. So this isn't great. They have Love Struck Beast, which most of our removal spells deal 4. Ooh. Alright, that's good. It's actually really good that they played Steel Leaf, because Rekindling Phoenix blocks that really, really well. I mean, it would have blocked Love Struck Beast just as well, but this way it actually like trades. So it really makes it so they don't want to attack here. But we certainly want to get all their creatures off the board, because they're playing things like Galta and the Great Henge, both of which are very difficult for us to beat once they're in play. The rest of their deck is honestly not that bad for us, but those two cards are very difficult. They're swinging. Okay. So they're going to Aspect, I guess? Sure, that's good for us. And then they're just going to cast Love Struck Beast. Oh, they had a Prey Upon? Sick. That's pretty sick. But we can kill their Steel Leaf with the Glorybringer, so we're going to do that. Hopefully they don't have another Aspect. Hopefully. And I mean, we did get a 2-for-1 out of the deal for Rekindling Phoenix. It was Prey Upon and Aspect, so it was still a good trade for us. And opponent looks a little flooded here, so that's good. And we have the Soulscar Mage Glorybringer combo here, where we can make that Love Struck Beast a 1/1. And they're just going to scoop. Alright. That worked out great. So Rekindling Phoenix, as unfortunate as it was that our opponent was able to get rid of it with the Prey Upon, yeah, they were a bit flooded, it seemed, and could not beat the Glorybringer. And, I mean, Boros Reckoner obviously also very good against their deck. But yeah, the name of the game against them is certainly keep them off of Great Henge and Galta, which actually Magma-Jet does help with. So I think we do want Magma-Jet, and I think on the draw we might want to trim a Glorybringer, as strange as that may seem. Glorybringer is so good. On the draw, maybe we trim a Soulscar Mage. Soulscar is only really good on turn 1. After turn 1, he's not that great, but he's very good with Chain Whirler and Mizzet Mortars and Glorybringer and Chandra and Boros Reckoner. Yeah, you know what? He's pretty good. Torbran, really powerful effect, but might be our worst card in that, like, Soulscar Mage, we can play it when we draw it and then also use Chandra that turn or use Glorybringer that turn. Whereas Torbran, it might be more difficult to do that. It's close. Pretty close here as to what we should be dropping. Maybe on the draw we just cut the castle. $24 lands. Let's try that. I want to play all these cards And we're on the draw, so we should be able to get away with one fewer land. And castle's more situational than mountain by a tiny bit. So I'm just going to drop the castle. And this hand is okay, so we're going to keep it. It has Mizium plus Phoenix, which Phoenix is very good, as we saw in game 2 there. Hoping that Phoenix can be a 2-for-1 like it was last game. The opponent mulled to 5. That's a good start for us. We unfortunately can't Mizium Mortars the Mystic, but if they play Yorvo or a Steel Leaf Champion, we're in very good shape. And we drew another Mortars, which is very good. If they play a Lovestruck Beast, we'll probably kill the Mystic with the Mortars. And if they play a Ronus, we'll probably kill the Mystic with the Mortars. If they don't play anything, I probably kill the Mystic with the Mortars. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and kill the Mystic. It's just like a Stone Rain. Their deck doesn't play that many lands. And yeah, Shaper's Sanctuary drawn a turn too late here. Not going to cast anything here. Not really interested in giving our opponent an extra card by killing their Burning Tree. I will give them a card to kill a Steel Leaf Champion or a Yorvo or something, though. And they didn't have anything to cast. Hopefully their hand is like Galta, Great Henge. Here, I like leading with Torbran? No, maybe just Phoenix. It's just so hard for them to deal with Phoenix. Alright, so they have access to 4 or 5 mana next turn. I believe we just want to play Glorybringer and then Mizium Mortars their whole board on turn 6. And I just want to attack for 8 here. Or, yeah, 8. No reason to draw my opponent a card. Alternatively, next turn we can just attack for 12 if we cast Torbran. So, yeah, we might just win next turn. So they're at 5 mana, 5 minus 3. And Ronus doesn't do anything. They're going to need to Prey Upon. Do you have a Prey Upon? Looks like they might, because they didn't attack with the elves. So they might have something here. What could it be? I think I just played Torbran. Oh, I should have played Soulscar first, but it doesn't really matter. This is lethal, so let's make them deal with that first. No? Alright. I don't know why they didn't attack with the elf. I guess maybe they had aspect, but it doesn't do anything there. Shaper Sanctuary are pretty good against us, but our opponent mulled to 5 there on the play in game 3, and their hand just wasn't very good. I do think the mono green deck can be pretty difficult if they draw Galta and Great Henge, as we saw in game 1. We were pretty far ahead, and then our opponent found the Galta at the last possible turn, and then found the Great Henge the turn afterward, which was really good. But yeah, welcome to round 3. We're playing everybody's favorite Red Devotion. And we've got the Leyline of Combustion in our opener this game, which the card is very good in some matchups. It doesn't do much at all in other matchups, like we saw in game 1 against Mono Green last round. Just did nothing other than add to the devotion count. But certainly that's not why you want a card in your deck. And our opponent's some sort of black-green. So Leyline's probably going to be decent. Chandra's a solid draw, but we do need some lands now. Oops. Oh, something's going on with my computer. There we go. We're not going to cast anything with the Burning Tree mana, but if we draw a Nykthos next turn, we can kind of go off. We've got 5 devotion in play right now. We do have 4 Nykthos in the deck. The unfortunate thing about the red devotion builds is you can't find the Nykthos. Once Upon a Time's banned now, but back when you could play Once Upon a Time and Oath of Nissa, you really had a lot of ways to go digging for that Nykthos and get going in the mono green devotion decks. So this looks like Soulflayer. It's the only deck that plays black-green lands and Sylvan Caryatid, as far as I know. And Soulflayer's gonna be pretty good. If they can get it going next turn. And it's likely that they can, because generally how it goes is they, on turn 3 after casting Sylvan Caryatid, as you may have seen when I played this deck for TCGplayer, for a TCGplayer article about a month and a half ago, you might have seen my Soulflayer video. If not, you can check it out. Just go up to the search bar above us and type it in. Unfortunately, no 3-drop here. It's going to be difficult, but yeah, they're going to play Grizzly Salvage or the other one and hopefully find a Soulflayer, plus put a bunch of good things in the yard. I forget what the other... They found 2 Soulflayers. So they got a Soulflayer, but they don't have anything else relevant in the yard at the moment. They can cast a 4/4, but it just doesn't have any abilities. They're going to cast Lotleth Troll first. Alright, which generally means they're going to have a lot of keywords next turn. But we can kill the Lotleth Troll with Chandra, which I think is a good idea. Because they don't have the mana up to... oh, they do have a Zatalpa, though, which means now they're going to have trample, double strike, flying, indestructible. Indestructible doesn't matter too much because of Soulscar Mage being in play. So as long as we draw a land next turn, we can still kill their busted Soulflayer because it's not going to have hexproof as of right now. So Soulscar Mage really doing some work as far as giving us game against this indestructible Soulflayer right now. Gather, just lifelink. Alright, that's not so bad. What did they put in their hand? They didn't choose anything yet. So you gather the pack and Grizzly Salvage are the two. Sometimes you play like one or two Commune with the Gods as well. They put Lotlet Troll into their hand. Okay. And I assume they're going to be casting Soulflayer? No. Interesting. I guess they know they're not dead yet. Ooh, we didn't get there. Oh, we can make mana with Chandra. Alright, yeah, that's true. Chandra's great. I was like, no, we didn't get enough mana. But we're fine. And they didn't find anything with haste. So they're not going to be able to pressure our Chandra here. They can give it lifelink, but lifelink's not going to matter because we're going to be able to kill it with Glorybringer. They're going to gather the pack again and again miss on haste. So that's really good. They put Murderous Rider into their hand. And they're going to Soulflay. And we're just going to eat it and attack them for more. Oh, they found Hexproof, though. Oh, yeah, they found Sylvan Caryatid. All right. Uh-oh. That's not good. I forgot about Sylvan Caryatid giving it Hexproof. Hexproof is a problem. Double strike lifelink. Huh. So they're gonna gain 6 life. Eat our Glorybringer. Right, they did find Sylvan Caryatid. That's not good. So we can't double spell unless we want to cast Leyline of Combustion and Chain Whirler. That doesn't really make sense. We can just play Glorybringer, but that doesn't really do anything either. So I guess we just want to exile the top card because we're just playing Chain Whirler here. What do we get? Ram Aberrans. Okay. Alright. Well. Made it a 3-3 at least. Cannot attack into it. And they have Murderous Rider now to kill our Glorybringer. But they're going to go for a Grizzly Salvage. And they grab the land. So now they have Murderous Rider up. They kind of have to attack. Yeah. And they're attacking Chandra, which makes sense. We can't really stop anything from happening here. So they're going to gain 6. Oh, they only gain 3. Interesting. Chainwhirler number 2 is good. Puts that down to 2. It still eats our Glorybringer. And they're still going to be able to kill our Glorybringer. I mean, that's our only play. Oh yeah, Combustion also deals them damage if they cast Murderous Rider here, so that's good. So this might be good enough. This is an interesting game. They were able to get their Hexproof, Double Strike, Flying, Indestructible, Lifelink, Trample, Vigilance, Soulflayer into play. The only thing it didn't have was Haste. And we were able to knock it down with the Soul Scar Chainwhirler combo twice now. And this might be enough. This might be enough. So they're going to go to 6 from the Chainwhirler trigger. Their Soulflayer is going to become a 2/2, so they're only going to be able to gain 4 from that. If they cast Swift End, then they go to 2 because of Leyline of Combustion. Which means they probably won't want to do that. But attacking also doesn't seem that great here. So like if we swing out, they're going to gain 4 up to 10. Eat either Glorybringer or Chainwhirler. Murderous Ride us down to... Murderous Ride the other one and go down to 6. This is interesting. I'm not really sure if I'm supposed to attack here or not. I think not. I think it's kind of a wash if we attack and we lose some stuff, so it's probably not worth it. We get in like 1 extra point. They're unlikely to be able to do another big Soulflayer, so the rest of their cards, the rest of their creatures I'm not that worried about. It's mostly just another crazy Soulflayer. That would be useful. Like Lotleth Troll is kind of whatever. Questing Beast isn't so bad because we have like 2 Chainwhirlers that can just eat it. Yeah, everything else is pretty fine. The only thing we're worried about is another Soulflayer. They are going to go for the Swift End. What's their target? Targeting Sylvan Caryatid? Oh, they must have another Soulflayer in hand. Huh. Yeah, they must have another one. And we're just going to take that hit. They're going to go up to 8. They have the 3rd Soulflayer, it seems. Yep. Ouch. Yeah. Well, just like I was saying, the only card that matters is another one of these. And... Death Touch. What did they exile that gave it Death Touch? But at least it's not indestructible. So we can just like double block it. Oof. That's tough. Yeah, this is not good. Oh, it was the Gifted Etherborn. Whoa. What? Huh. That's a weird attack. I wonder if I should be worried about that. Probably, but they're going to take a bunch if they kill one of the Chain Whirlers. Take 4. I guess they don't care because they're going to gain way more than that. Yeah, I guess I should have blocked with another creature. Of course they have another Swift End. They could have 2, but not quite dead. And then gain a bunch. Yeah. I guess they had to have had that, right? I was hoping they made a huge mistake there, but they had to have had it. Wow. Okay. That's a bummer. Leyline of Combustion really not doing us any favors that game. Jeez. That was a disheartening one. But, yeah, Leyline of Combustion, you're not my favorite. Museum Mortars can't kill it if it's indestructible, but can kill it most other cases. And then Tormod's Crypt is probably worth it. Yeah, Soulscar Mage was great. Fanatic would have been great at any point there. Actually, I guess we could have kept playing because of Fanatic maybe winning us the game off the top. So I think Fanatic's probably staying in. Rekindling Phoenix is fine. But maybe we don't want all 4. I'm not sure if we want all the Boros Reckoners or not. They're pretty bad against Soulflayer. They're good with Soulscar Mage, but you can't target Soulflayer generally. So maybe not. And maybe we take out 2 of the Phoenixes. Let's try that. Yeah, 5th land would have been good. Any of those last 3 draw steps where we just drew more Ley Lines of Combustion for future Glory Bringers. But even then, I was thinking about blocking with Soulscar and the 2 Chain Whirlers and at least trading for that thing. And that would have been a lot better. Yeah, I should have definitely put the Soulscar in as a blocker as well. It was just a pretty bad play, just blocking with the 2 Chain Whirlers. It needed to be Chain Whirler, Soulscar, because even if they don't kill anything, like, it'll just deal the first strike damage and kill it first. So it was just a really bad block. It was a punt. And we're going to keep this hand. It's, like, pretty solid. Pretty solid. I like Soulscar. It also is very good against Lotleth Troll. In tandem with the removal spells, the burn spells. Opponent kept 7, which is never good when your opponent's playing a combo deck and they keep 7 on the draw, but I grabbed Sylvan Caryatid. We're drawing a lot of lands. Huh. It's tempting just to like cast Bone Crusher Giant. It's not a lot of value. So in case we just don't draw anything, I think I want to do this. This deals 4 damage this turn, and then still gives us a play later. And if they brought in Thoughtseize, it's pretty good. If their play next turn is like Sylvan Caryatid, Thoughtseize, that's really good for us. Yeah, I guess we'll see how this ends up. And maybe they took Caryatid because they don't have another land. Now they do. Ouch. Flooding out pretty hard here. Really unfortunate. We're going to need some serious help in our next few draw steps. Again, it's very good if they have a Thoughtseize. This configuration of our hand right now. But otherwise, it's awful. Five cards in hand. Not going for anything now. Glorybringer's good. That's very good. So 5 cards in hand. If at least 3 of them are creatures, or at least 4 of them have to be creatures for it to not die to the Glorybringer. So I think we're just going for it here. Yeah, we're just going to exert and target Lotleth Troll. They do have Murderous Rider up, though. Yeah, I'm going for it. Yep. So 4 of their 5 cards need to be creatures. Yeah, they didn't have it. So we did get saved by the top of our deck there. That was probably best possible, was to draw a really good 5-drop on turn 5. Was looking a little dire there before the Glorybringer top deck. Glorybringer, pretty solid card. I don't know if y'all have been playing a lot of Pioneer lately, but it's kind of taken Pioneer by storm. It's exactly at the power level where it's very good in Pioneer. It's not quite good enough for Modern, and it was obviously a powerhouse in Standard. But I think it's exactly there as a great curve topper in a red deck. Just really, really solid. Hopefully they don't have a Soulflayer here. Although I guess it only has haste and death touch and vigilance and trample. Fatal push. And then Soulflayer get a lifelink haste. Hexproof. No indestructible though. Fatal push their own creature. It's kind of an interesting play. Ouch. So if we If we just pass the turn, it's about the same as if we attack with Bone Crusher. Because they have Vigilance anyway. Yeah, I think we just pass. If they have a removal spell for the Bone Crusher, it sucks, but they still take 2 from that, and then we deal them 2 with Ramanap. And at least that thing doesn't have Indestructible. We can just block it at some point. Or otherwise ignore it if we have enough damage. Nullhide Ferox. Oof. Alright, their hand was pretty good. Alright. That's pretty solid as well. Yeah, I think we shrink the Aetherborn. So we can just pay 2 for Nullhide because we have 5 Devotion, so we can nick those, get 5 for 3, have 3 left over. So we have 8 total, so that means we can pay for Nullhide, stomp Nullhide, cast Bone Crusher. I don't know why we'd need to do that, but probably just want to make this smaller so they don't gain more life. Or we can just stomp them if they don't think that we can do that. But I think I want to stomp this. And then just cast him. Alright. Yeah, I think that's where I want to be. Opponent doesn't have any cards in hand. They are at the mercy of the top of their deck here. If they attack with Soulflayer into a Bone Crusher, that's great. Saving the Stomp as like a getcha might have been good, but I just wanted to avoid them being able to kill our Bone Crusher and have good attacks. So I wanted to have both Bone Crushers in play. Huh. Interesting. I'm gonna go ahead and whirl some chains. And so if we swing out and exert onto the Ferox, I think we just win. Alright, they're only going to gain 3. Take way more than that. Ooh, shit. I didn't pay for the... oh no, excuse my French. I didn't pay for the... I don't know if it matters, but... I didn't pay the 2 for the Nullhide Ferox, I forgot. Gross. Oh no. Oh no. What have I done? Oh, friends. Well, our opponent has played much better than we have. Much, much better. I have been just trying to give my opponent this game, apparently. Oy. Yeah, we certainly should have won last turn, or at least been in a position to win this turn after last turn. Certainly still, like, fine, but I forgot to pay for Ferox, and that was pretty huge. Feels pretty bad. This is pretty good, though. That should do it. Oy. I mean, our deck bailed us out, but certainly was not doing us any favors with my play there. Apologize out there in YouTube and TCGplayer world. Don't know what I was doing there. Just playing super loose is what I was doing. All right, so let's bring it back in. Try to get this going. Tormod's Crypt. We're kind of like, we don't really get priority between our opponent using like a Grizzly Salvage on their turn and then casting Soulflayer. Not only do we not really get priority, we just don't. So it's maybe not that good, because they can just do it all at once. It can be good. It certainly can be good. But it's very possible that something like Boros Reckoner or Rekindling Phoenix is better. Like, Boros Reckoner having first strike is obviously really good as long as they don't have Indestructible on their Soulflayer. I think I'm going to go Boros Reckoner. Just get a little more aggressive. Tormod's Crypt can be good, but I'm not sure that it's good enough because of the times when it's just not going to do anything. We're going to keep this hand, though. And Mizzet Mortars in tandem with Soulscar Mage does actually kill any Soulflayer, so that's pretty cool. We have two of them. We don't have a Soulscar Mage, but nothing from our opponent. So I suppose we'll just stomp them. Curving out pretty well here. They have a Fatal Push. That's fine. That leads me to believe they have another removal spell for our Bone Crusher. They also have a lot left Troll, which is pretty good at the moment. Yeah, Lilith Troll without Soulscar Mage is actually pretty difficult to deal with. We can at least tap it and potentially kill it twice. Like, next time we can Mizzet Mortars it twice. I'd like to not do that, but certainly not blocking here. Which makes me think they either have another one or like a Nullhide Ferox. Ooh, Zatalpa. Alright. No play. Probably Murderous Rider for Chandra. Just gonna attack first and see what happens. Shouldn't have played the land before attacking because it gives them more information. But yeah, we're just gonna play Chandra and plus. All right. Do you have the rider? They could also very well have just 2 more creatures to discard to the lot literal and kill Chandra. Salvage, looking for a Soulflayer. They found Murderous Rider. They put Murderous Rider into their hand. Carry it in the graveyard, which means their Soulflayer is going to have hexproof when they get there. And they're going at Chandra, so I assume they're going to discard 2 things. Discarded a Soulflayer, really. Alright. So Soulscar Mage would be really good. Oh, they have another Soulflayer, really? Damn. What a hand. Opponent's hand was very good. Wow. Yeah, that's sick. So we don't really have any outs now. We are just dead. We're going to go to the next match. Alright. Yeah, I mean, we can kill the Lala Troll, which is great. And then take 8. They gain 8. And then I guess we're not dead. Yeah, we're not dead. We can draw us a what's his name? Soulscar Mage next turn. And still be able to win. If we draw a Soulscar Mage next turn and then the following turn, Mizzet Mortars. Jet. That's not going to do it. Although, actually, I guess we can still draw Soulscar Mage next turn because we'll have 7 mana. So we get to scry and look for it. So that's kind of good. Alright. Well, not quite dead. Go to 1. Nothing from our opponent. They don't need to do anything, so why would they? Neither of those are Soulscar Mage, so we're going to put those on the bottom. That's also not a Soulscar Mage. Darn. Alright. Got Soul Flayed. Soulscar Mage is one of the best cards in that matchup for sure. We also could have played a lot better. I also could have played a lot better. And our opponent, I feel like, played very well. And when one player is playing very well and the other one's not, a lot of the time it ends up that the one playing very well is the one who comes away with the win. Yeah, I feel like our opponent's hand in game 3 was quite good, but yeah, 2 Soulflayers. And there's a Talpa. It was pretty good there. We could have not attacked with Bone Crusher and just like jump blocked the lot left troll to keep our Chandra alive, but it wouldn't have made any real difference at the end of the day. Welcome to round 4. We're 2-1 right now. We just lost to Soulflayer, and we're playing on a red devotion. I'm gonna keep this hand. As Fanatic of Mogis, it's not my favorite card in the deck, but it deals a decent amount of damage, and this hand has a pretty good clock. And if our opponent's going to kill our Fanatics, they're going to have to take some damage. So, pretty decent. And then Bone Crusher obviously has its own built-in ley line of combustion, so it's like double combustion. Which is kind of cool. I am certainly not sure if this deck is better than just a typical chunky red, as they're calling it, the mono red, like mid-range deck that a lot of people are playing. It's very similar to what we're doing here with Red Devotion, but just not playing Nykthos or like Leyline of Combustion or Fanatic of Mogis. And I think that's certainly a reasonable thing to not do. And I think it's certainly reasonable to play all the cards that they're playing instead. I don't think Karzev is that good. And Shock is very good in some matchups and very bad in others. So it's an interesting thought exercise to try and figure out which one's better. But obviously the chunky red typical deck that does not play Nykthos is doing very well in tournaments right now, so very possible that that one's better. But this one does seem to have a good mono-red matchup in that Leyline of Combustion is actually very good in that matchup, and then we kind of go a little bigger than they do with most of the same cards, but then go a little bigger with Nykthos and like Fanatic of Mogis, just dealing a lot of direct damage. Ooh, they take 4. I'm down. Opponent just eating that 4. And then attacking with Scrap Heap, probably. Alright, these Fanatics, not that great here, but if they don't have any blockers, then they're pretty good. And then we have Glory Bringu next turn, which is great. Only 3 damage from the Fanatic. I would have preferred more than that, but 4 mana, 4/2 that deals 3 when it comes into play. Not the worst. And then occasionally that card deals 7 or 8. Rankle. Ooh, that's good. That's quite good. Tempted to block. I mean, we get to eat the Rankle with Glorybringer next turn, so it's not bad, but maybe we don't block and let them do the sacrifice effect. If we do block, we stay at a higher life total, and then they're obviously not going to make a sack. Yeah, I guess staying at a higher life total makes sense. It's possible that they weren't going to do the both sack, but they went with each player discards. Ooh. Wait, are they doing it? Ooh, shit. So now we kind of have to discard Fanatic, unfortunately. I wasn't sure if they would do it. But we really need to cast Glorybringer next turn, so I can't really... Yeah, I can't really rely on the Fanatic to do anything for us. That's pretty good because we get to cast it for free. So we didn't have to exert there to kill the Rankle, but they can just make a sack creature so easily with Rankle that I wanted to. Like, they'll bring back Scrap Heap and then make us full sack and then bring back Scrap Heap again, and that's pretty bad for us. Whereas this isn't so bad. The fact that Dread Wanderer can actually block is pretty annoying, but Castle Embrath. So that's 8 they can deal next turn. That's a lot of damage. But they're at 6. This will be a close one. Depends on what the 2 cards are in their hand. If they have a way to interact with Glorybringer, they're going to go to 4, and then we can only deal 3 with Burning Tree. So we'll need to top deck something. Oh, they're going to go to 2. But then they have a blocker. Alright, so it comes down to our top deck here. So they're at 2. And we did not top deck anything. So we lose. Bummer. Yeah, we just needed one more card that did something. Oof, yeah. I mean, that wouldn't have won us the game. But it would have made it so we're not dead on the next turn, and then we would have drawn a mountain. I guess we just weren't going to win that game. So Reckoner I like. Mizian Mortars I like. Tormod's Crypt is honestly kind of good here. Awakened Inferno can just wipe their board, which is pretty solid. Fanatic I think is pretty bad. Leyline of Combustion is kind of good. Maybe on the play it's worth it. I do wish we had Magma Spray for this matchup. I think we can trim a Torbrin. So Reckoner's just quite good, I think. Maybe we don't need the mortars because we can kind of kill their things, but Tormod's Crypt is kind of good. Soulscar Mage, not that interesting since Chain Whirler just kind of wipes all their dudes anyway. So maybe Soulscar Mage can go down a bit. Maybe we do 2 and take out the Magma Jet. Yeah, maybe something like that. Mortars is obviously good sometimes, but I think Leyline's actually good in this matchup. On the play, I think on the draw we probably don't want it, but on the play I think I do. Oof. Can't keep that. Double Leyline Nykthos. Yeah, I'll keep that. The good thing about this also is that they have a Thoughtseize that just doesn't do anything. So I kind of like this. And that's not a Thoughtseize. Hopefully we find a shock. Bone Crusher Giant would be great here. Nope. Did board out the Niv-Mizzet, which is pretty awkward against Knight of the Ebon Legion. Ugh, jeez. The only card in our deck we can't cast this turn is what we drew. That's pretty unfortunate. The only card in our deck that we can't cast, but hopefully we can use it to kill the knight next turn. After we go to 15 here. Oy. Yeah, I feel like we're severe underdogs at the moment. Which comes along with keeping a hand of 2 ley lines and a bunch of lands, but yeah, hopefully we can. Oh, we can't even kill it. They can just pump it. That's awkward. Yeah, I guess we have to kill the other dude. And they have ultimate price. Yeah, that's game. Unfortunate. Unfortunate. Certainly wish we had Magma Spray for this matchup. Yeah, I'm just gonna scoop. We can't really win from here. Maybe keeping double ley line was a bit too risky. And honestly, our first hand wasn't that bad with the Bone Crusher and Torbran. Maybe that was a keep. So we just lost again to mono black. 2 black decks just kind of crushed us. And this hand is fine, but not that good. Like, turn 4, we're just going to start casting Rekindling Phoenix. Rekindling Phoenix can just win the game on its own, and if the next 2 draw steps have like any more burning trees or something, then we're doing very well. So I'm going to keep it on the off chance that we draw something to do by turn 3. It's only 2 draw steps, but hopefully in those 2 draw steps we get something to do in the early game, and we can just beat down with these flyers. Another black deck. That bodes poorly for us. Alright, that's not anything we can use right now. I think I'm just going to save the burning tree. It's probably going to die. If we just cast it there, they probably have some sort of fatal push or something. Yorvo. Oh, interesting. So they're splashing black in a mono green devotion deck. Hopefully we find Chandra or something that can kill that. No dice. Alright. That's not good. Rekindling Phoenix does block it really well, though. So this is interesting. I'm interested to see what our opponent is splashing black for. Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, so they've got their good curve out here. If they have a Galta to follow it up next turn, we are just hyper Viper dead. We're going to go ahead and go to 10. The 5th land is pretty good since we can start to cast Glory Bringers next turn. Certainly can attack. What is the black in your deck for? Is it like Roddy Reg? Yeah, there's the Galta. Okay. Well, they had the perfect curve out. Not much we could do about that. We could have maybe killed their thing, but we just didn't have a way to do that. Our hand was medium, but we were on the play, and I didn't really want to mulligan. And I was hoping, obviously, to hit something to do before turn 3, or before turn 4, and we just didn't find that. But Mizzy Mortars, Boros Reckoner, both cards that are going to help a lot in this matchup. Leyline of Combustion might be more reasonable in this version of the deck because they're splashing black for presumably removal spells like Fatal Push or Thoughtseize or both. In which case Leyline is pretty good. But yeah, I don't like Fanatic very much. Don't like Torbran that much. And then Niv-Mizzet's okay. I think I want to trim a Glory Bringer on the play. Since I think Rekindling Phoenix is just so good here. And Niv-Mizzet killing elves is pretty useful. Especially when we're on the play. Scry, get some lands. Yeah, this is a keep. Could use more land and also something to do with Burning Tree, but I like it. Opponent mulligan twice down to 5. That's really good for us. See if we can't finish this league out with a winning record. Unfortunately, not going to be able to do anything with the Burning Tree, and no real reason to hold it because we're playing against a green deck. Pretty unlikely they have any removal for our Burning Tree. And way more likely they just do something like that. Alright, so drawing the land was great. Now we can just play Reckoner and pass, I guess. I would really like to keep their board small, but we didn't find any removal. A Nykthos would be fantastic here. Either Sphere or Harvester, huh? I don't hate it. It's kind of good. They missed their 3rd land drop. Yeah, they missed their 3rd land drop. We're absolutely going to stomp this guy. Well, yeah. We're just going to stomp this guy. And pass the turn. Hope that our opponent's Mana Screw continues. Scavenging Ooze. Alright. It's reasonable. Second Glorybringer. Obviously not very good. But we're just going to cast Bone Crusher and pass here. They can't really attack us with the Boros Reckoner Soulscar Mage combo. And we could start attacking with Bone Crusher. Well, we can't attack into the Ether Sphere Harvester, but potentially at some point we can. Alright, they found a Mana Dork. They can make their Scavenging Ooze a 3/3. Plays around another Stomp or other Shock effect. Here's a land. I like Torbran here. If we played Torbran, we can attack with Bone Crusher with impunity. They can just block it with Scavenging Ooze, which is not ideal. But Torbran seems kind of good. Because that way Glorybringer is not going to lose to Ether Sphere next turn if we can cast Glorybringer. Another option is just killing Scavenging Ooze with Chandra right now, or Steel Leaf. I guess Steel Leaf might be better to kill. It's got 3 pips. If they find a Nykthos or a Galta or something, it'd be good to get that off the board. Yeah, maybe we should keep their board light and just play Chandra here. Yeah, I like this because we can potentially add mana and then be able to cast Glorybringer next turn if they don't go to kill it. I guess they could have an Aspect, but oh, Blossoming Defense. Wow, what a blowout. Okay. Ouch. Blossoming Defense is quite a blowout there. Darn. Aspect wouldn't have mattered because then we just pass turn and it dies on their turn, but they had Blossoming. Alright. Well. Found another mana source. They're going to crew Harvester to kill Chandra, it looks like. And that also gives them Galta mana. Yeah, if they have a Galta here, we probably just lose. Unfortunately. No Galta. Alright, that's good. 3 mana up and didn't do anything. Huh. What is in their hand? They missed their land drops. I guess more Blossoming Defenses? That was a really good draw. We found a Nykthos. So we can make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then 8, 9. We can cast both Torbran and Glorybringer right now. Quite good. Well, we're getting to show off what Nykthos can do. It's pretty powerful. And they're just going to scoop because that is absurd. And I don't blame them. I'm really confused as to what's in their hand. Oh, they could have black cards in their hand. Since we saw that they were splashing black, their hand might have been like 2 black removal spells or like Thought Seizes or something. So that's very possible. Interested to see what they're splashing black for. I don't hate the idea of playing mono green splash black. That way you get access to Noxious Grasp out of the sideboard for the other green decks, and then in your main deck you have some sort of removal, which could be really good. Also against the other creature decks. But I'm unsure if that would be better than just playing mono green, which I think mono green is one of the better decks in the format right now. The same deck is what they're playing right now, just without the black splash. So on the draw now, I think Glorybringer is a bit better, and I think we can probably trim a Mountain or an Embereth. I think Embreth, just in case we draw like Raminap, Nykthos, Embreth in our opener. It's just like, yeah, sometimes Castle's gonna allow us to push through. Yeah, actually, because it allows us to push through the Aethersphere Harvester with Glorybringer and Rekindling Phoenix, I think we do need to Castle. So I am gonna leave it, considering Aethersphere. And with this many mountains, we're probably gonna be okay. And I think run it like this. It's also possible that we'd want to play like the second Torbran over the fourth Glorybringer. But the name of the game here is just like don't die for the first few turns and then turn the corner with things like Glorybringer. This hand's pretty good because we have Emissary into Stomp on turn 2, although it's painful. Hopefully we draw some non-Raminap Ruins red sources, and hopefully they're just regular mountains because it's getting real dark. I'm going to turn on the light. I was hoping to avoid having to use the light in this this recording, but opponent mulled to 5 again. That bodes well for us. They have a Thoughtseize. Just Elvish Mystic. I mean, Elvish Mystic's very good. And we did find a red source that is not painful, which is great. Opponent going to 16 to cast their beefy thing. And then we're probably Burning Tree into Stomp on the Elf. Kind of regardless of what they do. Oh, definitely now. That's a good draw. Burning Tree. I guess Chain Whirler can kill the Elf next turn. We could just Stomp them. But yeah, I'm just going to kill it. I just don't want to give my opponent access to more mana if we don't have to. And they're on 2 cards. Even though Chain Whirler does kill the Elf next turn. If they have another Elf, we get to kill that. They'll probably swing here, since they do need to get us dead at some point. But I'm feeling very good about our chances since they missed their land drop and we're about to Chain Whirl all over their faces. Bye-bye, Elf. Oops. Oops. And opponent's stuck on 2 lands. Looks like it's coming up K-Ponce here. We are gonna... I think attack with both and then Chandra plus Mizium Mortars and Burning Tree. Yeah, I'm going to attack with both. Since we're so far ahead here, we can use extra cards in order to kill our opponent's cards. I think it's reasonable. And we get to Burning Tree into Mizium Mortars on the Lovestruck Beast. This could go wrong if they have the Blossoming Defense. Yeah, they do. Alright, so we 2 for 0'd. Well, they 2 for 1'd us with the Blossoming Defense, I guess. Which is a bummer. If they have a 1-drop now, they pressure our Chandra, which is annoying. We have to jump it with Burning Tree. Yeah. Yeah, if they have a removal spell here for the Burning Tree, we are actually not in great shape. Yeah, we have to block. Alright, that did not work out as well as we were hoping. We did find a Nykthos, which is pretty sweet. So we can play Boros Reckoner. Can kill the human so that they can't attack us with Lovestruck Beast, but then we eventually have to try and win the game. I think I'm going to plus. Niv-Mizzet, yeah. That seems great. Hopefully not another Blossoming Defense. Alright, Burning Tree, not that good here, and Castle Embereth, not that good here. Yeah, I think we want to bottom both of these. And activate Nykthos, cast Boros Reckoner. And attack with Burning Tree. Now we can just trade Boros Reckoner for Lovestruck Beast if they do find another 1 mana, or 1/1. They found a 3rd land, so they can cast their other Lovestruck Beast. But they have a Ronus, which is pretty good here. We need to find a Soulscar Mage in order to be able to deal with the Ronus. So here we can -3 Chandra, deal 4 to the Lovestruck Beast, attack with Glorybringer, deal another 4 to Lovestruck Beast, but they're just going to play another one next turn. So it's not actually that good. But at least we can do that again on the following turn, potentially. Well, we can't. Huh. This is actually kind of tough. I mean, we can double block the Lovestruck Beast. Yeah, they don't really have good attacks, but when it has Trample, it actually doesn't. Well, it still dies to the Reckoner. We're just gonna use Nykthos. Make some red. Cast Glorybringer. Cast Bone Crusher. And now we have the option of killing Lovestruck Beast, which I think is correct. I think it's correct. Oh, yeah, because then we get to attack with these two, and that's lethal. Yeah, okay, I should probably have recognized that. Yeah, so Ronus can't block if you kill their thing, and I didn't really think about that. Anyway, found the line eventually. That was my 15th match of the day. So I've been playing for a while. But thanks for hanging out, everybody. We're going to do a deck tech now. We ended up going 3-2, which I'm pretty happy about. So, hey, welcome to the deck tech for Mono Red Devotion. The name of the game here is Nykthos Shrine to Nyx, and cards that make this card good. So we're playing things like Goblin Chainwhirler, which is 3 red pips, Burning Tree Emissary, 2 red pips, Torbran, Thane of Redfell, 3 red pips, a lot of things that are 2 red pips, including Leyline of Combustion, which is a leyline, so if it's in your opener, it just starts in play. Leyline of Combustion, the 2 damage when they use a spell or ability that targets you or a creature you control, or a permanent you control, that is. So, like, it triggers on most things, as long as they're not Supreme Verdict or, like, Settle the Wreckage or an overloaded Mizium Mortars or those sorts of things, it's going to usually trigger anytime your opponent is interacting with you. So kind of good that it's dealing 2 damage. It's not always going to be worth the 4 mana. It's almost never going to be worth 4 mana. But when you have it in your opener and you have a Nykthos in your hand, especially in tandem with like a Burning Tree Emissary or a Chain Whirler or something, you're going to really be able to ramp up into Chandra plus and find a Glorybringer and cast it all in one turn. Like make 8 mana with Nykthos on turn 5 or whatever. Like stuff like that can happen. And another thing we're using to abuse the amount of red pips we have, the devotion to red we're going to have, is Fanatic of Mogis. It's a card that I'm not super sold on because it's obviously very good when your opponent is not interacting with what you're doing, but it's not very good when they are. So I trimmed a couple from my original list, and I'm playing a full 4 Rekindling Phoenix, which is just a really good card. Very good against Supreme Verdict. I expect to see a decent amount of blue-white control in leagues and stuff right now. It's generally considered one of the better decks in the format. So I like something that's very good against Supreme Verdict, which Rekindling Phoenix obviously is. Then we got a couple Chandra, Torch of Defiance, which is just kind of a staple for any red deck at this point. It's a really powerful card. It draws you extra cards. It adds mana. It deals damage. It has a busted -7 that I don't know if I've ever actually used personally, but the other modes are usually good enough to win you the game fairly quickly. And then in our sideboard, well, let's talk about the other cards in the deck first. Soulscar Mage, not that good in our deck considering Magma-Jet, Bonecrusher Giant, and like Chandra are the only non-creature spells, well, besides Leyline of Combustion, which hopefully we played for free on turn 0. So not a ton of ways to turn on the prowess of Soulscar Mage, but the big upside to Soulscar Mage in this list is that Chain Whirler is -1/-1 to their entire team forever with Soulscar in play, which is really good play. Chandra -3 just is a -4/-4 to their creatures, huge. Glorybringer -4/-4 to their creature, pretty huge. Torbran's in play, and you have Soulscar Mage and Chain Whirler. You get to -3/-3 to all of their stuff, like a little one-sided Anger of the Gods. Pretty sweet. And I really like that interaction, so that's why I like Soulscar Mage. I also just like having a 1-drop because a lot of games come down to just like who spends their mana more efficiently, and with this deck we're able to curve out if we have a Soulscar in our opener, which is kind of nice. And yeah, it works well with Bonecrusher Giant as well, obviously. Then Bonecrusher Giant is a card that works well with Burning Tree Emissary because we can curve out like Soulscar into Burning Tree, which gives us the 2 mana, which we use to stomp something of theirs or them. And then on turn 3, we cast Bonecrusher Giant. So with 3 cards, we had like 4 spells, and we're in very good position going into turn 4, which is when our like real heavy hitters start coming. Besides Leyline of Combustion, which is basically a turn 0 play. We've got the Rekindling Phoenixes, which we talked about already. Chandra, Torch of Defiance, which we talked about already. Torbran, which we touched on a little bit, but this guy is pretty sweet at just closing the game. You cast this card, and all of your creatures attack for like 2 or 3 times as much as they did before, in some cases, but in general 2 damage more than they normally deal. Cards with first strike that are dealing 2 more damage, like Goblin Chain Whirler, are dealing 5, so even if they block it with a 5/5, it's not a trade. It's a chump block, right? It's a chump block if they block Chain Whirler with a Lovestruck Beast if Torbran's in play. It's quite good, and I'm sure you've seen this card if you've been playing any red cards in the past like few months. It's been a staple in most red decks these days. It's really powerful dude. Legendary creatures, so you don't want to play too many, but just a good dude. And then we've got Glorybringer. Just a great curve topper. Great way to curve into some beefy flyers with Nykthos is to drop a Glorybringer and just wreak havoc on your opponent's board and their life total. This it deserves, it doesn't really need any big beefing it up. It's just a great card. But then if we go to the sideboard, 4 Mizzy and Mortars, any creature deck, we're going to bring these in. We can overload it fairly easily with like Boros Reckoner in play or Chain Whirler in play and Nykthos. And we're always going to be bringing in Boros Reckoner against the creature decks as well. So this is kind of like the creature deck package that we're just going to bring in every time our opponent is a creature deck for the most part. And yeah, those are going to work well in tandem with each other and also just great against creatures. Then if your opponent is a control deck, we're going to bring in Chandra's Awakened Inferno. It costs a lot, but generally against control, you're going to get a lot of time. And this spell can be countered, and it just puts these emblems on your opponent that just eventually kills them. So yeah, Chandra Awakened Inferno, quite good at curing what ails you when what ails you is a control opponent. So yeah, that's going to be pretty big time against control. If you think control is going to be like a ton of the format, then you might even want to play more than 2. It's quite good against them. And then Tormod's Crypt for the graveyard decks, like there's like Dredgeless Dredge these days running around with anything with Prized Amalgam in it, anything with Treasure Cruise. You're probably going to want to bring in Tormod's Crypt. And Damping Sphere is mostly for the Lotus Field deck. It's a pretty linear deck that's just kind of doing one thing, but it does that one thing pretty well, and we can't really interact with it. We can just like be faster than them, but when we're on the draw, it's definitely a bad matchup because without our fastest type of draw, we're just not going to be able to interact at all. No Thoughtseizes, no Duress in our mono red deck, and Shocks don't do anything against their game plan. So really we're just trying to kill them as soon as possible, which we can't really kill them until turns 5 or 6 for the most part. It's like generally when we're going to be winning the game, and they can definitely go off before then. So we kind of need Damping Sphere to slow them down. And that's pretty much the deck. Thanks for hanging out with me here today at TCGplayer.com. And definitely, if you want to pick up any cards for this deck, check out the prices here on TCG Player. And I'll see you next week with another edition of Pioneer with me, Poncelet. Have a great one, y'all.